kind of just, this is my like demo guide. So you know how I had for the contour guide, I had like a demo. So I recommend taking a picture of this because it has some steps on it. My handwriting's a little messy, but it is helpful. So this is your reference. Everyone should take a picture of it for the front only. So, oh, could someone grab me an L square? And we're gonna draw in our grain line, and then we're gonna line up so our front torso on it, and we're gonna start tracing it. So the torso sloper requires a 2-dart. So the 2-dart front, the 2-dart back. Thank you, thank you. So once you have these two, then you can make a 1-dart. Okay, you just pivot. You guys all know how to do that. Trace this, and you want to transfer this to here. So I mark it, boom, boom, boom. Close this up, right? This dart grows. So I recommend making that so you have it on hand. So, okay. I left my pencil sharpener at home, so.
There's one up there.
There's one up there, okay. I got to sub a costume design class last week at Art Center, and they have a model who comes in to every class and wears different costumes, and they draw from the live model. It was so much fun. and they're doing this project that's a dance movement costumes with like an ethnic tribal theme, and so she had like staffs and scepters and orbs, and she was doing poses, you know, like that. It was really cool. Okay, so I hope you guys get some figure drawing classes here, right? Like with,
Yeah, we have
with
illustration.
do you have live model class drawings? No.
Sorry.
They don't require like a life drawing class?
No.
No. Okay.
I kind of wish they did.
I've taken it.
I always wanted to.
Oh my own, not here.
Well, take it somewhere. They might have it in the art
I've
program.
taken it, yeah.
Like they probably have, for the art majors, they probably have a life drawing course. If you're a fashion design student, I recommend taking that life drawing course, because then you learn
it
really,
helps.
it really helps. That's
It
really helps.
And it's like all nude models.
Yep.
So it's like, oh. All nude, and I'm like, it was crazy. It was crazy.
You've seen things.
Yeah, all kinds.
No, awesome. Love it. Okay. So the thing with the torso sloper is we have to add, so I'm gonna have you guys add 7.5 inches below the waist. So you gotta make sure you have enough room at the bottom here. So I'm gonna be adding 7.5. So I should be okay. So I'm gonna make sure this is up here. So just position that for yourself properly so that you have enough. Be mindful of that. Enough paper. And I'm just gonna trace the top. I'm not gonna trace the waist. I'm just gonna mark the waist because that's where we're gonna be changing and adding. So I'm gonna trace this dart because we're keeping that dart. And I'm gonna transfer my apex, and I'm gonna transfer my vanishing point. So just transfer the apex and the vanishing points, okay? I've got my front, and I'm gonna mark the waist. So I'm just doing a slash at the waist, and I'm gonna mark my bust level right here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and mark the center of that dart for giggles. And that's all I really need. So I'm gonna pull this off. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use your L square so that everything is level. And I'm gonna go ahead and draw in my bust level. So it's going right through the apex, so that's good. My apex is correct. Okay, and I'm gonna draw a line at the waist all the way across. So I marked my waist. Draw that across. And now I'm gonna go ahead and measure down. So I said 7.5. These are my notes. So from the waist, we wanna go down 7.5 and mark where our hip's gonna be. So some people do 7, some people do 8. I'm gonna have you guys do 7.5. If you have a size, do any of you have size 14? Do 8. Okay. If you have 12 and 14, do 8 inches down. See how it looks. So it could be either 7.5 or 8 with the bigger sizes. And then, you know, when you're drafting, go ahead and mark it for yourself, you know, so that you have it there. It helps ingrain it in your mind. You know, you can even be going like this, you know, until you have things solidified in your head. It's nice to have that written down. So this we're working down. We're working down, and then we're gonna work up. So now we're down here at the hip level, and we have to figure out how big our hip is, right? So if you're just working, so there's really 2 types of pattern making, but I'm going to say 3. So 3 types of pattern making. Table, flat pattern making on the table with the slopers and blocks, draping, and then digital pattern making. I'm going to call that a 3rd. So when you're doing flat pattern making, you know, you might not necessarily have the dress form nearby, or you're just drafting on the table. So you would use your skirt sloper. So you would have a skirt sloper, and you just measure it for the hip level. So I have my skirt sloper, and so my front hip level is 9. Yeah, I already wrote it in. So that's what I would measure across. So you guys don't, I know you don't have these, you didn't make them in beginning, right? So all you have to do is just measure on your dress form, right? So I'm using this dress form. So you always use the right side of the body. Just take your measuring tape and measure. So we're doing 7.5 inches down. So from the center of the waist, measure down 7.5, or no, do it from the side seam, sorry. Center of the waist at the side seam, 7.5 inches down, and you can put a little pin there so you don't lose it. And then you're gonna measure that, okay, to the center front. So on the pants dress forms, it's kind of hard to do this, you know, on the regular dress forms, it's easy to do. So I hope not too many of you have the pants. So you're just gonna, you might have to go like this and maybe put a piece of tape right here that's hanging off her crotch. So you have a guide, okay? So it looks like, I don't want you guys to just eyeball this, I'd rather you hang a piece of tape so you know exactly where center front is. But it's like 9.5 on this one. So that's the measurement that you would use here. Okay, so it's 9.5 on the dress form, and then you add another half. Okay, but mine's not 9.5, mine's 9. So I'm gonna use that. Okay, so 9 plus a half is 9.5. Yours might be 10 plus a half. So that's what we want to measure over. So I'm gonna measure over 9.5. Wait, we wanna square it. So we're squaring these things. Squaring, squaring, and squaring all the way across. So I'm just gonna square a line first, then I'm gonna measure what it is, okay? So I'm squaring my line all the way out, just like a squared one here and squared one here. Now I can measure it, okay? I'm gonna use this 9.5. If you guys are measuring your dress form, I would use the measuring tape to measure on here, so it transfers the same measurement, because the ruler and the tape might be a little different. So I did 9 plus my extra half, okay, and I'm just marking it like this, and I'm going to square a line up. So I'm going to get right on here, square my line up. So this is 9 inches plus a half. So 9 inches is my hip measurement, okay, plus a half. So up here is my waist, right? This is my waist, this is my hip, and this is my bust. So now I'm gonna figure out what my waist is. So I've squared it up, and now I'm gonna go back 3/4. Squared up, and now I'm going to measure back 3/4. So that's right there. Everyone's going to measure back 3/4. Everyone's going to add a half to their hip measurement. So now that I have this, I know where my waist is, I can use my hip curve and draw it in, right? So I want to add up this, I want to connect this to this, okay? And then I'm gonna just clean up my side seam. So you can kind of smooth it out. Actually, I don't want a sharp angle. I want it sort of smoothed. I want a little bit of a curve. So I'm gonna use just the edge of this to soften that out, okay? So you know, make a nice little soft rounded waist. And then you can draw it up to the dart. But something soft, okay? That's too much. This. I'm gonna go ahead and draw in my dart. So, one, all the way to the apex, and I'm also gonna put in the vanishing point too. So I'm drawing dart legs to the apex, and I like to have a T on my apex, just like a little T. And then this is my vanishing point, so I'm going to draw dart legs to that as well. And this is what you want to do on your bodice sloper, your 2 dart. You can draw in the legs to the apex, and then also have the legs to the vanishing point. Do a little T on my vanishing point, okay? This is my, you don't have to write this in, but I'm putting this for everyone. This is my front torso. And your size, mine's a size 8. Always put the size, make sure you always label it front, torso sloper, and the size. All right, okay, so I just did my hip, so now I'm going to work on my waist, and I'm going to figure out what my darts are. So I had 1 dart, now I'm splitting it into these 2 here. So my finished slopers looks like this. This is what the finished sloper is going to look like. So it has our side dart here, that doesn't change, and then we're going to take our waist dart and we're going to split it into 2 fisheye darts, okay? So to do that, we're going to measure over 3 inches from the center front, and I'm going to mark it with a T. So we use that T. And now I'm gonna split my dart. So my dart, I already have measured, so I wanna split it into 2 3/4 inch darts. So mine is like 1 3/8 inches. So I broke it up into 2 3/4. Yours might be a little different. So you wanna measure the dart, divide it in 2, okay? Divide it in 2. So I know from here I wanna measure out 3/4. So this is 1 dart. And then you wanna have 1.5 inches in between the darts. So I'm gonna put a little T there, and then I want another 3/4 inch dart right here. Okay, so this is 1.5 inches that everyone's gonna have in between, and this is 3 inches. So the 3 inches is basically to my princess line. So from here to here is about 3 inches. It should be. Okay, and that's where the first dart starts. And then the second dart is 1.5 inches away from it, okay? All right, so now that I have that, I can come up to the bust and I'm gonna figure out where my vanishing points are. So the first thing I need to do is drop 1 inch. So my first dart, the vanishing point is 1 inch below the bust level. So I wanna put a little T, I'm measuring down, and I'm gonna square a line across. Make sure you're squaring the lines with the L square, okay? Just like that. And then I'm gonna take the center of my dart which is 3/8, a little more than that, a fat 3/8. And I'm gonna go ahead and draw a line straight up to that new line. So I'm just keeping my 2-inch ruler on that level line and I'm drawing a line straight up to this line. So I dropped this 1 inch. Okay, so that's the center of my dart. And then I'm gonna just close it up. So I mean, I'm gonna draw in my dart legs. When I say that, that's what I mean, dart legs. Okay. So this is the vanishing point for my first dart. So now I need to go down another inch for the second vanishing point. So I'm gonna find the center of my dart. And again, I'm gonna draw another straight line straight up to this line I squared across 1 inch below, and I'm gonna measure down 1 inch on that line, like that, okay? So that's my vanishing point for my second dart. Okay, so now I have my 2 darts. Tops of the darts, I just need to do the bottom, okay? So the bottom is, we're gonna measure down 4 inches from center front. So some people do it different. Helen Joseph Armstrong does 3 inches, but I don't like it. 4 inches looks better. 3 inches looks really funny and weird. So we're gonna do 4 inches down from the waist. This is my waist. Okay, and I'm going to square a line across using my L square. And I'm going to go ahead and draw the center. So remember, a lot of you, when we were draping, I was telling you, remember the center of your dart, that balance line is the center of your dart. So now you're starting to see how, I'm looking for my muslin to show you. Now you're starting to see how that is translating. So this line, when we prepped our muslin, we drew this line in, we dropped a grain line, and then we squared a line across, and then we dropped this grain line. So this becomes the center of the dart. And this grain line, the center of the dart. So those centers are really important, and they're marked for us. And it's important to, I think I've also had you find the center of the dart, measure up, and then back it off to get your drill, you know, your sewing line, your drill punch hole. So knowing the center of the dart is really important, and always having that drawn in. So I'm going to just continue my center of the dart all the way down to the new 4-inch line, and I'm making sure that it's level on my ruler, everything's level. And I'm going to do that on this one too. And then all I have to do is draw in my dart legs. So it's pretty easy, right? It's not that bad doing one of these. And I'm only going to show you the front today. I'll do the back on Wednesday. Okay? And then you guys, after you're done drafting it, then you put it into Manila. So this is the draft. So you're not going to cut this. You're going to save this and keep this for your reference. So here's the vanishing point below the waist. Okay? Okay, my 2 fish eyes. This is my hip level here. Okay, my waist, my bust. So I have my notch for my front armhole. Here's my dart. So this doesn't look balanced, so actually, and that's okay. We draped our muslins, so some of you are it's gonna be off. I've already seen it. So, but we draped it, we know it fits right, we know it looks really good, and that's more important than all the numbers. So I think that's it. So this is the draft. So you guys can label it draft. I'm gonna wanna see this. Once this is finished, then you can trace it. So you'll need another, you can use the other half of this, or take another piece of paper and lay it on top and trace it, okay? So trace that out, and then after you've traced it perfectly, then just cut it out like this, cut like that, and then lay that on Manila. So you don't cut out, you're just gonna cut out a square and lay the square on the Manila, and then staple it, put a couple staples in, like one here, one here, one here, one here, and then cut together so that it comes out cleaner. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. That's how I did this one. That's why it has staples in it. And then I actually transferred everything to the back, which I recommend doing because you're probably gonna need them for the other side. So after you make one of these, I recommend making a fit muslin. So whenever you make slopers using the flat pattern way, you always want to make a muslin fit sample. So after I drafted this, I made my muslin fit sample, and then you don't have to like put anything in the back or anything. You just want to make a quick muslin fit and put it on your dress form, make sure everything is fitting properly. So for this that you guys made, that you draped, sorry. For this that you guys draped, you don't need to do that. You draped it. It fits perfectly on your dress form. You already know, right? But when you're flat pattern making from a measurement, you're taking like someone's body measurements and drafting a sloper or drafting this, you know, even though I draped this, when I transfer it to a sloper, things might change. So that's why it's a good idea to make your fit sample. And Michelle's making a funny look because it's all wrinkled and crazy. Yours will be nice and unwrinkled and ironed when you try it on your dress form, okay? But yeah, I recommend doing that. The same with a sleeve. If you're drafting a sleeve sloper for this, cut it in muslin, sew it into the armhole, make sure that it fits. So that's what most pattern makers do, and they want to make sure everything, double check it. I think that's it. So